Someone named Cheyenne was in Delphi, Indiana, on the Monon High Bridge on the day that the two girls went missing, is the claim. Several people were there that day. At least half a dozen people have been noted, there are probably more than that, in the area. But they were spread out over a long trail that did not have any real restrictions on where people went or didn't go. The Delphi Monon High Bridge photos taken, two pictures so far only identified, by someone named Cheyenne in 2017 were originally uploaded somewhere. Jamie Kelly 76's Facebook page apparently is the only link anybody showed for an original instance of the posting of these images where anybody could have archived them or seen them. She confirmed she saw no people under Monon High Bridge that day or while she was there taking photos. So therefore her images underneath the bridge, if there's a claim of somebody being under there, would need to be completely crystal clear, not looking like an aberration in a JPEG image, not looking like somebody wearing somehow very specific camo for the location, and definitively not people who are the wrong scale for everything else in the scene. This is a massive bridge. Large distances are involved. The majority of sleuths do not acknowledge any of her testimony or the source of the image, or the fact that you can't go to it, as the first source was never archived or saved by people who said they saw it, but no attempt was made to archive it. Also, conversations between Cheyenne and other people were screen grabbed, but since these were posted, which is ostensibly what people said, openly and publicly, they could have been archived. And every single one of them being screen grabbed are done for the purpose of presentations as pictures and cut off the address bar, any other data that would be useful, and refuse, in most cases, web sleuths and true crime experts refuse to provide links to the evidence that gets them out of the way so that you can ignore them and evaluate it directly for yourself. That is a big, big giveaway for this kind of subject matter. Her assertion, testimony, I'm going to use that word because it's very triggering, is that there wasn't anybody in the bridge she could see, and she's the one taking the photos people claim to see people in. She would have had to look around the corner or look this way or stare at it and take a photo. She was taking photos of the bridge and the trail and who knows what else. We only have the two images because she presented them to relatives saying, I was there that day, I saw no one, and over time she acknowledged other things. She was there when other people were there, just not under the bridge, and in the image, there's no reason to assume that the images contain anybody under the bridge. I want to do a joke about the Billy Goat's gruff here, but it seems inappropriate. If you claim that me not seeing the same thing you see or others have seen means I'm calling them a liar, or I'm saying they're crazy, or putting words in my mouth, that makes it not a request but a loaded demand. You better agree with me or I will demonize you. This is extremely common in any web-based interaction. People on the internet feel very comfortable brigading and attacking people, not understanding or not caring that it spills over into real life on a frighteningly regular basis, and feeds into a us versus them paranoia cult behavior on the internet for something as simple as fashion or fingernail polish videos. People freak out when you tell them, I don't agree with you, or I don't see this. Reddit is the only place anybody send me to find the images, and consistently, like ridiculously so, all of them are just links or embedded versions of JPEG compressed images on Imgur, reposted only as early as 2019, October 4th. 5WJK4BV.JPEG, 101 kbytes. There's an exact bit count, but it doesn't matter. 540 pixels by 960 scanned from the CCD imager or whatever was used from top to bottom, most likely, in lines going from right to left or left to right. That means it's going to have not only 8-bit lossy compression from a 24-bit color information source, 8 bits per color, red, green, and blue, being compacted into 8 bits, it's also lossy compression that creates blockiness and creates lines where there wouldn't be any. The optimization, if it detects, if it's being smart, that it's dealing with a picture of a page, will draw lines. If it's looking at the natural environment, it'll try to draw light and dark lines to match up and connect things. It will create color blotchiness with overlap to be reinterpreted in your browser or in your cell phone, and it may look different depending on what device you're looking at it on. And this is after re-downloading it at least once from the internet from, let's say, Facebook, but again, we don't have an actual link. Again, people who are web sleuths and true crime people won't say where they get the image from. And then eventually they say, do your own research, and then they say, it's available on Reddit. You just have to look up Cheyenne and bridge photos or anything, and every time you look it up, it goes back to Reddit, okay? And are they the same images over and over again? Yes, they're the same ones on Imgur. I'm looking at the source data. And again, that's 2019, not 2017. It's still the same substandard imagery, which is normally okay, but you have to understand it's JPEG compressed. You can take a camera, aim it at a scene. You can make up a scene that has natural and unnatural items. This is an example of one. And look at what it does to it by JPEGing it in the default condition for your cell phone. You can also, if you have a cell phone that can do it, tell it to do HDRing. You can also tell it to not compress it. You can also tell it to store it in some other format that doesn't compress it as bad, like, let's say, PNG. And you will find dramatic differences. And you'll also find dramatic differences between the compression algorithms for just JPEG. Then, Facebook or any other social media website has carte blanche permission to alter it, unless you zip it and also put it under a password. Your raw file is subject to being edited to make it smaller or faster or more presentable or whatever, like Google's Auto Awesome that they inflicted upon all of us that screwed up every freaking upload, or Photo Bucket doing the same thing where they just automatically screwed up every image because we didn't pay them their blood money. It didn't even reduce the bandwidth. It just pissed people off. And then they held the high resolution or quote-unquote original, they were just original images, under hostage until we paid them money. Eventually they stopped doing it and all of us downloaded our images and then just erased Photo Bucket. Some of us weren't allowed to because they needed the content. They realized people were doing this in protest. Facebook does the same thing to images sometimes. Sometimes not. Video has it done to it. Every YouTube video is recompressed. Well, you can get raw. No, you can't. Today I sat down with an image, a video that was taken years ago, 2013 or something, 2015, that was recorded on a cell phone. That was Lossy JPEG, motion JPEG compressed. And I had to go through the mind-bending amount of layers of work to upscale it to be 720p, like it could have been if it was filmed that way, but it was in 620, not 720. It was literally 100 pixels too small. So I had to rescale it this way and this way, which added more aberrations to it, so it would be in high res. I couldn't do some other multiple. All to get it to be on YouTube, to not be in 240 pixel. It reduced the quality down that much because images taken in portrait mode, the vertical video mode or vertical photo mode, are always low-resed when you upload them because they figure, fuck it, he uploaded it poorly, why should I care? It's a website that doesn't give a damn. Only just recently has YouTube stopped doing that. And only until about a year and a half ago has image storage places stopped shit-canning the quality because they assume you want to black bar it out to the sides here instead of just leaving the file alone, reducing their computation processing cost, the electricity, and the bandwidth by just letting us have the images in full res when we're on high-speed internet connections. No, they have to dick with it somehow. Every site does that. So someone uploading this in 2017 on Facebook, it would have definitively fucked with the image. The lady in question, Cheyenne, full name not being done in the video here, may or may not be a person who started off at the age of 16 deciding to become a mortician. Maybe the same person. I don't know, and it's not relevant. But it is kind of interesting that nobody brings that up. All of the web sleuths are either A, accusing their next door neighbor somewhere in Texas of being bridge guy, or B, not giving enough information to find out anything, or C, acting like providing us a link to the source of the image they're obviously using someone else did. Oh, well, that be a violation of their privacy. Of course, that's bullshit because they spend their entire day implicating other people and wink, wink, nudge, nudging, because that will tease you along and let you watch their videos. Railroad ties are on average 8.5 inches by 9 feet. 8.5 feet by 9 inches by 7 inches. Sorry about that. I should just do everything in inches. No joke there. But anyway, at 9 by 7, you can look at the edge of the bridge ties. Or you can go out and measure them and confirm that I'm wrong. Do that, otherwise we're just going to go with the assumption. Train trestle steel beam rivets, the button head. These are called button head rivets that are in that bridge. Very common one. Rosie the Riveter type rivets. The most common ones are bigger than this on the head, but they go anywhere from early bridge ones that were used for bridges on the bridge restoration website on how to pull a rivet and put a new one in after you clean. It's a whole process. 0.875 inches minimum diameter, but up to 3 inches diameter. You have to measure them. The most common one is 1.5 inch shank, so they're like 2-inch rivets. Okay. No claimed person in the image is to scale with a human if you look at the ties or the rivet diameter and the distance that these are supposed to be at. Her pics do not show people under the bridge, and she made a claim, statement, testimony that there was no one under the bridge she could see. Now, she can do more than a single frame. She can look around. She can do this, which gives her artificial levels of three-dimensional detection, artificial parallax effect. Her eyes have much more than 8-bit lossy compression. They're 24-bit bare minimum compressed and uncompressed, Your eyes can see 10-bit dynamic range. The camera you're using in your cell phone barely hits 8-bit. 256 dynamic range level 0 to 256 versus 0 to 1024 or better. Usually higher than that, like 8,000 grayscales. Our eyes are better than this. She didn't see anybody moving around, which would give her a clue that it was a human. She didn't look down and see anybody sitting there. She has the ability to do better contrast and better color resolution than these lossy compressed images. And even then, there's still enough contrast between individual bricks on the other side of the river that you can see that. But we can't see distinct color or distinct contrast with someone sitting there supposedly staring at us. It's staring us in the face. There's totally a person down there. And then on that note, what if there were people down there? This is an unambiguously benign thing to talk about. Yeah, there could be. There are always people down there, right? That day there wasn't, because it's an area you go fishing or walk along the river. Maybe the river was a little too brusque, so nobody wanted to cross it at the time. I don't know. The point is, the image doesn't show anybody under there because the person taking the photo says she didn't see anybody under there. The 2 pictures minimum she took don't show them, and more importantly, it wouldn't make a difference of any kind, but okay, where's the proof? And yes, other images have been pointed out to me as well, including images taken a year later. That would be irrelevant, wouldn't it? Pictures taken on a different day. Pictures taken the day before. The only images taken around that time were done by her and one guy who was on top of it doing a 3D 360 scan twice, apparently. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. There isn't anybody under the bridge and yelling at me saying, you're calling me a liar or whatever. No, I'm just saying I don't have any evidence for it. There has to be a compelling reason to say there's a person down there. And again, if you compare the railroad ties and rivet sizes and just the beam sizes, a 12-foot tall person. Okay. Thanks for watching. Good day. Good luck. Bye.